second trend that we are seeing is that more and more people are buying SSDs with higher capacities. If you look at until last year, most of the SSDs that were sold were 128 gig in capacity or lower. But going forward, starting in 2016, we will see that more and more people will buy 256 gig capacity based SSDs, 512 and even 1 terabyte. So if you see over here, the 256 gig to 1 terabyte will be more than 50%, 56% of the capacities that client SSDs will be sold in the industry. Now, I'm sure you all know that we have SLC based NAND, MLC as well as TLC. In 2016, by end of 2016, 50% of the SSDs will have TLC based NAND. And I just want to highlight one thing about this last point over here. SanDisk has a lot of experience in creating SSD solutions on TLC based NAND. Not many people have that expertise or experience. We already have one product, the X300, that sold over 2 million units, and that was based on TLC NAND. And we've been shipping it even at our top OEMs. So SanDisk has a lot of expertise in creating TLC based SSD solution and successfully bringing it out into the market. Okay, so just three key takeaways. SATA is still going to be the most dominant in the client SSD space. We are seeing a shift towards the higher capacities, 256 gig all the way up to 1 terabyte, and TLC is going to be the most adopted NAND when it comes to client SSDs. All right, with that, let's come to the main topic of our presentation today, the X400. This is our latest X series SSD from SanDisk that we are launching today in Korea. And let's look at the key features and benefits of this particular product. Number one, we are really excited to announce that this is the first 1 terabyte M.2 client SSD in the world. Right, so there is no other SSD solution out there in M.2 form factor with 1 terabyte capacity, and it's also the thinnest 1 terabyte client SSD solution out there in the market. It's 1.5 mm in thickness. It's probably thinner than a gum stick, literally. And again, on the right hand side, what we are showing here is the trend towards higher capacity requirements. More and more solutions require more capacity in a smaller, slim form factor. So that's exactly why we are bringing 1 terabyte capacity, not just in 2.5 inch form factor, but also in an M.2 form factor. The next key thing about our X400 is that we have improved the product from a previous generation product in multiple areas. Number one, the performance. As you have seen, people can take more and more performance, right? And they would require more and more faster systems. So if you see over here, on the left-hand side, we are showing how the X400 performs on an industry standard benchmark called PC Mark. What this benchmark does is that it tries to mimic what you are doing in a real world usage in your PC. And it shows that higher the performance, better the user experience. So if you see that we have used the same exact PC or laptop, and the only thing that we've changed is the storage device in it. We've used one system with our own Z400S, which is the leftmost bar. The middle, the red bar, is the X400. And then what we're showing here is a very close competitor of ours. If you see over here, the X400 has got the highest score in this particular benchmark, which means that the user will get the best user experience. And I want to again highlight this one thing. You see, this is like the same system with a disk drive. You can see that the difference between this and this, our X400, is almost maybe 20x or more, right? So there are a lot of systems still using disk drives in their PCs, but clearly, if you want your system to be faster, snappier, quick to boot, faster to load applications, which was one of the main requirements from our customers, then we highly recommend that you design in one of our SSDs, such as the X400 in that system. And on the right hand side over here, these are the two main metrics that most of the customers look at. It's the bandwidth, both on the reads as well as on the write. So this is sequential read performance and this is sequential write performance. You'll see that in both cases, the X400 comes to almost saturating SATA protocol or interface, right? You really can't go beyond this on a SATA-based solution, so we are saturating it. Even on the writes, if you look at, say, even the competitor and us, we are in the 500 megabytes per second and above range, whereas they are like much below saturation points. So just want to highlight that as well. And random IOPS are also important in PC applications. So even here, if you see across the board, we are doing really good. And on this one particular metric, we are neck and neck with our competitors. So we have like provided extremely good performance in most of the metrics that are considered as industry standard when it comes to benchmarking storage solutions. Right. The next key feature on the X400 is we have provided scalable endurance. What I mean by scalable endurance is that as the capacity of the drive increases, the endurance that you get on that drive also increases. This is the first time we are doing in our SSD. If you look at all our current as well as past products, the endurance of the product was fixed. It was constant. Either it was 72 terabytes written or it was 80 terabytes written. But with X400, we are providing scalable endurance. You can see in the fine prints over there, the 128 gig has around 80 terabytes written, and as you go up to 1 terabytes of capacity, it goes all the way up to 320 terabytes. Yeah, and why this is important, and I think Magic touched base on some of those things, is our X400 is also a great fit for entry-level servers. In the entry server space, typically the workload is more stringent, or it's a 24/7 type of an operation, right? So you can even expect to write maybe 80 gigabytes per day. In a typical PC usage, we don't write so much data. This is like writing almost maybe 20 high-definition movies every day on the drive, right? Very few people, if any, would be doing that. But when it comes to entry servers, you can expect a higher duty cycle because the servers are operating 24/7, right? So what we are showing is that even if you put this drive, say a 1 terabyte or even a 512 gig SSD in a server, it will last for more than 5 years. Even the 128 gig capacity solution in a server environment that will do maybe even 80 gigabytes per day of writing will last for 3 years, at least 3 years. So we just want to highlight that this X400 scales all the way from mainstream PCs to entry-level server applications as well. The next one, so we mentioned that peace of mind, secure storage is also a key request that we see from the customer. So in the X400, it will be Opal 2.0, TCG Opal 2.0 compatible, and it also has AES 256-bit encryption hardware engine in the drive. So which means that you will be encrypting the data using AES 256-bit encryption, and it also supports Opal 2.0. What this means is that if you want to do secure boot up of your system, or if you're an IT administrator wants to manage multiple systems that have X400 securely, remotely, then with the Opal functionality in the X400, they can now do it, right? So corporations or users that want secure storage and want to make sure that their data is not compromised, we have the support for Opal in the X400 along with AES 256-bit encryption as well. And once you say that you are TCG Opal compliant, what it means is that ISVs that provide secure software to be installed on the system, we will be compatible with their software. So if you can see, we have listed a lot of ISVs that provide secure software from a manageability point of view, from a security point of view, and we are compatible with all these top players in the industry. All right, this is another thing that separates us from a lot of the SSD vendors out there. We want to show that each of our SSD, including the X400, goes through a lot of testing and validation before we bring it to the market. For example, the X400 goes through a lot of OEM testing that top tier 1 OEMs want our SSDs to be qualified through. It goes through a lot of them. It's more than 500 different types of tests that the OEMs want us to pass, and the X400, before coming out to the market, has gone through those many tests. So when we say that our X400 is OEM validated, that's what we mean, right? Not every SSD that you find in the industry would have gone through this much of validation in-house before coming into the market. So this basically means that you can trust the quality of the product once it is in your hands. And a lot of these tests are automated in our validation lab. So obviously it helps us in going through these tests before bringing it into the market. But what it also helps with is that if there is any issue in the field, we can quickly run that particular SSD through our automation software and framework and provide a resolution as well as a root cause for that issue for your customers. Okay, and once we go through all this validation and qualification, the end result is that you get a product that has a very low AFR or an annualized failure return, right? It's 0.5%. Very few SSDs have this low AFR. Most of them are either in the 0.6 to 1% range. This again speaks to the quality of the product that we are bringing out in the market, right? All right, so just to look at, to recap the key features for the X400. Number one, it's the first 1 terabyte in M.2 form factor. It is also the thinnest 1 terabyte SSD out there in the industry today, right? So it's the first. Second, the X400 has technologies such as Ncache 2.0 as well as DataGuard Client, which makes this solution extremely responsive in a PC environment and also provides very high length of endurance, all the way from 80 terabytes written to 320 terabytes written. And these two technologies, the Ncache 2.0 as well as DataGuard Client, they are SanDisk proprietary technologies, right? So that's why you have to be careful when there are multiple TLC or MLC based solutions out there in the industry. Not all SSDs are created equal. Our X400 has a lot of innovative technologies built on SanDisk's 27 years of expertise in flash in bringing out an extremely responsive and robust client SSD into the market. And I just want to highlight the power consumption of the X400 as well. We have made our X400, which replaces our previous generation X300, even more power efficient. It is anywhere from 30% to 25% more power efficient than our X300, which again helps in creating devices that will last longer on a single charge of battery. So it has a new controller, it has a new power management chip as well as algorithm, which overall creates a much more power efficient SSD solution. Alright, so now that we've looked at what the X400 is about, what are the key features and benefits of an X400, let's recap and see how it takes care of some of the important customer requirements in the industry, right? What we said was, the first thing was they want more thinner and lighter solutions. We all know that the PC sales have been flat, but if you just look at the ultra mobile segment, that segment is growing. More and more people want thinner, lighter solutions. And with the X400, you now have M.2 form factor going up to 1 terabyte in capacity. It basically enables more and more of thinner and lighter PC solutions out there. Okay, so that's number one. Second, we said that most of our customers want their solutions, their PC solutions, to last 8 hours or more on a single charge of battery. Now, to do this, every component in your PC has to be more and more power efficient, including the storage device. So just as I had mentioned, the X400 is even more power efficient than our own previous X300, anywhere from 25% to 30%, right? So this would again help for your customers to design PC solutions that are more and more power efficient, okay? Obviously, the rest of the components in the PC also have to be power efficient, but at least we are helping them from a storage device point of view. And then we said that people want, or our customers want faster and faster solutions. So the X400 has Ncache 2.0 type of technologies, which make the solution even more responsive for the client environment. Even sometimes, or many times, even more responsive than an MLC-based SSD solution out there, because it has a layer of SLC blocks above the TLC blocks. So it makes it extremely responsive, even faster than an MLC-based SSD solution. Okay? And then the last thing that we said was that people want their storage solutions to be secure, and it wants to be robust. They don't want to lose data or data to be compromised. So with the X400, we have DataGuard Client, which provides much longer endurance, as well as helps in correcting more errors. And we have Opal 2.0 support as well. So if people want a secure storage solution, then we have support for that in the X400 as well. I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, we'll open it up.